Then and than. And I want to point out that these two words are not actually homophones because when they're pronounced properly, they don't sound anything alike. But what tends to happen in our language is that we get lazy with pronunciation, and then we also become lazy with definition, which is why we have a lot of people who just kind of put in whichever one of these words they feel like in any given context, regardless of the fact that they don't sound the same, they're definitely not spelled the same, and they don't mean the same thing. But with defining then is an adverb meaning at that time, being such, or on the other hand. So examples, I will see you then, and if there are any problems, then I will contact management. Than is a conjunction showing comparison of elements and also showing items in relation to or in comparison with. Example, I would rather drive than walk, and she has more money than you do. Complement and complement. A lot of people don't know that there's two complements. The first one with the I is a noun or a verb. So it can be a noun when it's an expression of praise, or it can be a verb when you're talking about the act of actually providing praise to somebody else. Examples, Brian has trouble accepting compliments. However, I still complimented him on his new suit. Complement with the E in the middle. This one can be a noun or a verb as well. So the first one, with it being a noun, means that it's something that completes or makes perfect, and then with it being a verb, it means to complete or make perfect. Example, this wine is a complement to the main course, and Mike and Sharon complement each other well as a couple. Lose and loose. Again, this is another one that the word pairing is not actually homophones because these two words aren't even pronounced the same way. Lose is a verb meaning to come to be without, to misplace, or to fail. Examples, I always lose my car keys at home, misplacing them, or our team is going to lose if we cannot strengthen our defense. So that would be an example of fail. Loose. This is an adjective, which is the opposite of tight, not bound together, free or released from fastening attachment. Example, I pulled my hair back into a loose bun. Oh, definitely. Okay, so the reason why I put this one in here is because I see a lot of people misspelling the word definitely. Very important to note that the letter A appears nowhere in the word definitely. Now, it does appear in the word defiantly, which is something entirely different. Definitely, defiantly, not even close to being homophones. Definitely don't mean the same thing. Definitely not spelled the same. Less and fewer. Okay, this isn't so much a homophone as it is a word blunder for when it is appropriate to use the word less and when it is appropriate to use the word fewer. Okay, so with less, you use less for items that cannot be quantified or counted. So if you can't physically count whatever it is that you're speaking about, then you use less. Fewer is for items that can be counted piece by piece. So if you can physically count whatever it is that you're referring to, then you use the term fewer. And some examples to make all of this make sense: there was less traffic on the freeway because there were fewer cars on the road. So I can't count traffic, but I can count cars. And also, the gym was less crowded because fewer people were there. So I can't count the crowded, but I can count people. Lie and lay. This is another one that we confuse a lot. Most people will tell you that when they're tired, they're going to go lay down. And I think that because it's become so common, everyone just sort of accepts that as being normal. But in actuality, you should be saying that you're going to go and lie down. Reason being because lie means to rest or relax, and lay means to put or place. So you always have to have an object when you talk about laying something down. So example, I feel tired, so I am going to lie down on the couch. And you should lay your beach towel on the sand next to mine. So we use lay in the second one because we actually have something we're laying down, which is the beach towel. Another one that I see get confused a lot, and I will admit that I do this from time to time, is good versus well. So the difference here being that one is an adjective, one is an adverb, but a lot of times when your friends ask you how you're doing, you'll usually respond, hey, I'm doing good. But that's actually not the right phrase to use based off of the way that these two words are defined. So good, being an adjective describing something pleasant or positive. Well is an adverb meaning in a good or satisfactory manner, skillfully and thoroughly. Do not use adjectives when you should be using adverbs and vice versa. It's very important that whenever we are supposed to use an adjective, that's what goes there, and when we're supposed to use an adverb, that's what goes in that spot as well. And if you need some help with determining adjectives and adverbs and which ones you're supposed to use, you can check out my video on adjectives and adverbs on this channel. I just have a couple of examples here at the bottom of this slide with some blanks in them because I want to demonstrate how to determine whether or not to use good or to use well. And really it's determined by whatever the word is modifying. And since one is an adjective and the other one is an adverb, one is going to be modifying a noun, the other will be modifying a verb or an adjective or another adverb. So with the first example, the dinner she cooked tasted, and we've got a blank here. The subject of the sentence is going to be dinner or dinner she cooked. The verb is going to be tasted, and the word that goes in the blank is actually going to be modifying dinner. Dinner is the subject. Subjects are always nouns or pronouns, so you're going to use an adjective there, which is going to be good. With this second example, he has been blank since surgery. The subject of this sentence is he, the verb is has been, and the word that goes in the blank is actually going to be modifying the verb here. So instead of using good, since that's an adjective, we're going to use well in that second example. And when it comes to these word blunders, I just want to make note that nobody's perfect, okay? So even the most polished English professional still makes mistakes every now and then. However, don't be afraid to look stuff up, okay? So if you know that you're not a good speller, make sure that you keep dictionary.com in your tabs so you can go and look up stuff before you start typing it on the internet or in a paper. Make sure that you distinguish the difference between a lot of those homophones so that you use the proper terms in the proper context. And if all else fails, you can always just ask somebody.